Welcome back, fourth grade scholars. I hope you had a great Labor Day weekend and that you got a lot of rest and had a lot of fun, maybe a cookout or barbecue, and spent some time with friends and family. Safely though, 6 feet apart. All right, let's get started with today's lesson. We're going to continue working in Module 1, Unit 1. This is Lesson 10. Welcome back as we continue to explore the world of poetry and work towards becoming strong poets like Jack. What are we learning and doing today? We will be continuing our reading of Love That Dog and look at another poem called The Apple. We will be identifying the characteristics of poetry. Now, you will do that one-on-one with me in our synchronous classroom. So, but before we do that, we need to read Love That Dog and preview The Apple. So that's what we're doing in this video. Also, we're also going to be identifying what inspired Jack to write poetry and find evidence of this in his poems. The materials that you will need is Love That Dog by Sharon Creech. Your ELA Google Classroom, week 5, you will need to have that open. Also, you will need headphones if you have them and a quiet workspace. Go ahead and pause this video, and when you are ready, go ahead and hit play. I'll wait. All right, great. I'm so glad you're back and that you have your book, Love That Dog, and that you are in a quiet workspace. Let's get started. Learning targets. Our learning targets at the end of this lesson, you will be able to analyze pages 35 through 41 of Love That Dog and determine what happens in the story and how Jack feels. Also, you will be able to determine the text evidence that supports your answers to what happens and how Jack feels. Now, I want you to follow along and read silently as I read aloud pages 35 through 41. Now, remember, this is a journal that Jack has written to his teacher, Mrs. Stretchberry. So this is a journal of all of Jack's thoughts. February 21st. That was so great. Those poems you showed us where the words make the shape of the things that the poem is about, like the one about an apple that was shaped like an apple, and the one about the house that was shaped like a house. My brain was popping. When I was looking at those poems, I never knew a poet person could do that funny kind of thing. February 26th. I tried one of those poems that looks like what it's about. My Yellow Dog by Jack. He said head, body, head, ear, eye, head, nose, head, sniff, 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 slobber, 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 leg, paw, leg, paw, body, yellow, tail, yellow, wag. What a fun poem. I really like how Jack integrated ear and head together and how his dog is slobber, sniff, sniff, wag. And he also told us the color of his dog, yellow. March 1st. Yes, you can type up the yellow dog poem that looks like a dog, but this time keep the spaces exactly the same. And maybe it would look really, really good on yellow paper. Maybe you could put my name on it, but only if you want to, only if you think it looks good enough. March 7th. I was a little embarrassed when people said things to me like, neat poem, Jack, and how'd you think of that, Jack? And I really, really like the one you put up about the tree that is shaped like a tree. Not a fake looking tree, but like a real tree with straggly branches. But I want to know who is the anonymous poet in our class who wrote that, and why didn't he or she want to put his or her name on it? Was it like me when I didn't think my words were poems? Maybe you will tell me the anonymous tree poet and that his or her tree poem is really a poem. Really, really a good poem, too. All right. Now that we have read those pages, we are going to go ahead and open up your anchor chart and fill out the first half, page 35 through 37. And we're going to do this together. So I want you to go ahead and we are going to look at how we get to that. So here is your ELA class. Now, you may not be UK, you may be LOC, Howard, Baylor. That's fine, but it needs to say ELA. Now, what I would like for you to do is always click on classwork. All right. Here is week 5. Let me scroll up and show you. Week 5 is the topic. So we will be clicking on these. Now, I have already loaded the pages for you, page 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39 through 41. Okay. Now, if you need to refer back to the poem, please do that. You can use your book or you can use the pictures that I provided. You're going to click on your slide, and this is what it should look like. Look at all the work we've done. We have done every single one of these pages. Now it's time to do page 35 through 37. Now, if you'll notice, I still have the red. So you will type in these boxes what happens. So let's go over exactly what happens in pages 35 through 37. So on page 35 through 37, I don't need feeling words. I don't want to know how Jack feels. Here we're just simply telling what happened. Okay? Jack reads a shape poem. So you would type here, Jack reads a shape poem. And, because that's not the only thing he did, and writes one himself. Jack wrote one about a yellow dog. So that is exactly what happened. This is the box where you type how Jack feels. Now, I believe that Jack feels very excited. He feels very excited. I think that he couldn't wait to share with the class the poem that he wrote. And he really, really liked the shape poems. So I am going to type right here that Jack feels excited. He's excited. And now I'm going to type why. Why is Jack excited? Jack is excited because Jack enjoyed reading reading and writing shape. Now, that might be a poem that you might like writing too. I don't know. We'll have to see on your performance task. Now, I need to go back and find my evidence. Remember, we always have to have evidence. Now, if I said that Jack was sad here, I would have to prove that Jack is sad. Okay? I cannot prove that. I can't do it. If you go back and look at our pages, we cannot prove that Jack is sad because he says, that was so great. Someone who's sad is not going to say that something is great. And he also writes, my brain was popping. Those are exciting words. So that is my evidence. My brain was popping when I was looking at those poems. That tells me that Jack is excited. That is the evidence that I will use. So I'm going to go back to my slide and I'm going to type in here. He writes, quotation marks, my brain was popping and I was looking at in quotations. Now, I didn't make that up. That didn't come out of my head. I looked in the book. I copied it directly from the book. I copied it directly from the book. My brain was popping. I copied it, but I made sure that I put my quotation marks there so it would show that I did not come up with this idea, that this is text. This came from Jack. Okay? So make sure that when you are writing your evidence, that you are making sure that it's coming directly from the text, that you are copying it. But just make sure you have your quotation marks. Now, let's go back and look at page 38 through 41. March 1st. Now, we need to know what exactly happened. Okay? What happened here? Well, it looks to me like Jack's teacher has decided to type up his poem again, and this time he wants his name put on it. He wants his name put on the poem. He was embarrassed before. He didn't want anybody to know what he wrote. So he said, can you leave my name off? This time he wants to include his name. So we are going to write, remember, no feeling words go here. This is simply just what happens. So Jack's poem is typed with his name on it. Posted on board. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let you pause the video so you can find out how Jack feels about it. When you're ready to continue and type in your Google Doc how Jack feels, go ahead and press play so we can go over together how Jack feels about it. So go ahead and pause and then press play when you're ready to resume. All right, great. I'm glad that you were able to look back in the text and find out how Jack feels. Now, if you said that Jack was scared, I don't think that that would be the best feeling of how Jack felt, because I don't see any evidence here that Jack was embarrassed. He says here that he was a little embarrassed when people said things to him like, neat poem, Jack, and how do you think of that? But he was mostly proud. Right here, it tells us he put my name on it. He's proud. So he was a little bit embarrassed, but he wasn't upset. So the two feelings I think that Jack had was that he was proud and a little embarrassed. So he was proud and embarrassed. If you did not write that on your page, go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and type in proud and embarrassed into your Google Doc. And when you're ready to continue, you can go ahead and press play. All right, great. I'm glad you're back. So now we have to say why. Why is Jack proud? Why is he a little bit embarrassed? So Jack lets the teacher, the Stretchberry, put his name on the poem. But he also gets embarrassed. So we could put and gets compliments. Compliments from students. That makes him a little embarrassed. So I got all of this from our text. All right. So now I have to prove it. I have to prove my evidence. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video so you can type in why Jack is proud and embarrassed at the same time, go ahead and pause. And when you come back, we'll find the evidence. All right, great. I'm glad you went ahead and typed all that information in. Now we are going to type our evidence. So, what is the main thing that we keep saying in here? Name, name, name. That would be our evidence that Jack was proud. He said, maybe you could put my name on it too. Maybe you could put my name on it too. So that is where you would type your evidence. So I'm going to let you do that on your own. And that concludes our portion of our anchor chart. Now, I told you I would share with you our poem, The Apple. So if you'll pause the video just for a moment and get to the back of your book, Poems Shared by Miss Stretchberry. And that is right after street music. Right after street music. And you can't miss it because it looks just like an apple. I'll go ahead and let you pause the video now, and then you can resume when you have found the poem. Okay, I'm glad you're back. Did you find the poem? The Apple by S.C. Rigg. Let's look at it. It's so fun. This says stem, apple, 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 yum, apple, yum, apple, yum, apple. Juicy, 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 juicy. Crunchy, 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 crunchy. Red, yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red. Apple, apple, apple. Oh, yum, delicious, yum, delicious, yum, delicious. Yum, 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 yum. Worm, wormy worm. Yuck, yuck. Yum, 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 yum. Wormy worm. Yuck, yuck. Yum, yum. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, delicious, yum, delicious, yum, delicious, yum, delicious. Apple, 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 apple. Apple, apple, apple. Apple, red, green, crunchy, 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 juicy, 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 apple. This is such a fun poem. We're going to go into more detail about this poem in class, and I cannot wait. But I bet you can guess what inspired our poet to write this poem. Maybe it's the love of apples. Yeah, I think maybe that's why the poet decided. Now, here's another fun fact. S.C. Rigg is actually Sharon Creech. It's actually Sharon Creech, our author. This is called a pseudonym. She has written this poem under a different name. So it's like a secret game. Poetry is so much fun. And I hope you guys are having a great time learning about it. Now, just a reminder, go ahead and fill out pages 35 through 37, what happens on these pages, how did Jack feel about it, and how do you know? What's your evidence to support? And then you're going to also fill out for pages 38 and 41. Now, when you're finished, go ahead and click the submit button on your screen. All right? Thanks so much, guys. I know you can do it. I know you can have fun with this poem. And I know that you can have a great time reading what Jack wrote, especially about the dog. I'll see you guys in class. All right. Have a great rest of your day.